22 people are dead in multiple shootings in Lewiston, Maine. Sources telling CNN that 50 to 60 people are reported injured in the incidents, though it's unclear how many are injured due to gunfire. Central Maine Medical Center has confirmed that they are reacting to a mass casualty, mass shooter event. A suspect is still at large as we speak.
And here we go, another sick individual just taking these innocent lives. Over 22 confirmed dead, they're saying, and dozens injured. Just an extremely terrible situation. Before we dive into this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and if you could please share so we can get the word out there. So now this suspect is still at large, right? He's armed and dangerous, of course. He had like a white, I believe it's like a Subaru, like a little SUV, little mini SUV. They've already recovered that, and they're already staking all that out there, talking with his family, and they're already on top of that whole situation. But what would cause an individual to do something like this? The first thing that would have to come to your mind is he has to be crazy, right?
It says Card is a trained firearms instructor believed to be in the Army Reserve stationed out of Saco, Maine. According to law enforcement, Card recently reported mental health issues, to include hearing voices and threats to shoot up the National Guard base in Saco, Maine. Card was also reported to have been committed to mental health facilities for 2 weeks during the summer of 2023, which is in recent months, and subsequently released.
Well, damn, isn't that just the Mount Everest of warning signs right there? So he's already hearing voices in his head. He wanted to shoot up the National Guard's base. He's already threatened to do that. He was committed to a mental institution, which he was there for like about 2 weeks, they're saying. And this is in 2023. This is just a couple months back. And then he was released. So these are all the warning signs that this individual is either a danger to himself and others. He's already putting a threat out there. So why is he out on the streets? If this is what he's already telling you, this is what he says. He's hearing voices in his head. God knows what they're telling him to do. He's hearing. Why is he not in some, whatever happened to insane asylums? Whatever happened to the people have to be up in there, the people that have completely lost it? And then on top of that, he's a firearms instructor and all that. So he's already been a present danger. They know that he is known by law enforcement, but somehow he's able to walk the streets. You guys already know the conversation isn't going to be going to where people are sick or people that are just mentally gone, because that's who you have to be to take innocent lives like this, just to fire off into a huge crowd, because that seems like exactly what he's doing. But what's the conversation instantly going to go to? You guys already know.
You can see a high-powered assault-style rifle with a large capacity, what's called a magazine. That's the contraption that holds the ammunition that goes into the gun. Why is that so important? Because, Laura, as you and I have covered so many of these mass shootings, this is so often the weapon of choice for many of the nation's deadliest mass shooters, because you have that high-powered velocity. You can also fire multiple rounds in quick succession, but also you don't have to reload as many times as you would with, for example, a pistol.
And you hear him right there being disingenuous. Oh, this is the weapon of choice. You can fire off lots of rounds in quick succession. It's a semi-automatic rifle, which he knows, the same as a pistol. And this is where the people that aren't informed, the uninformed people that don't know what's going on, they think it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator with the Gatling gun. That's what they think that this is, an automatic weapon where he's just spraying off. It's a semi-automatic rifle. He knows that, but this is getting at the people that have no idea what's going on. And then why don't they talk about what's going down in Chicago? Chicago weekend shootings, 44 shot, 2 killed. This is just in the weekend. That's not even talking about the rest of the week. The following week, 21 shot, 4 killed. Once again, just on the weekend. This past weekend that just passed, 26 shot, 5 killed. So that's well over 80 people shot just in the month of October. These are just the weekends. This isn't taking into account the weekdays and all. That's just the weekends. But they want to go back to the AR-15, the assault rifle, which they know that's not the correct term. Most shootings, all this, the reason they don't talk about this stuff is it's done with handguns. They just want to come out when it's like a mass shooting like this, when it's some crazy individual that does it, and then they want to go into to all this other BS. And it's all about the gun, not the individual. That's why they don't focus what's going on in Baltimore, Atlanta, Chicago, San Francisco, all of these places, because the majority of all of these shootings are like gang on gang activity, drive-bys, all of this stuff. It's done with handguns. The majority of killings are done with handguns, but they know that. I believe hammers and knives kill way more than even assault rifles, as they would like to claim it to be, kill. But they want to misinform people and not keep it real, which it should be. And you guys know we had to hear from Gavin Newsom. Republicans in Maine rejected a bill this year that would have required a waiting period for firearm purchases. They seriously could not fathom waiting 72 hours to buy a gun. Maine also does not ban assault weapons, here we go again with that term, require permits to carry a gun in public, require background checks on all gun sales. Our hearts are heavy tonight. We need immediate action. We cannot sit around and wait for Congress. And here's the big one. We need to amend the Constitution to help prevent tragedies like this. All of those things that he named off would have not prevented what just took place. The individual is sick. He is mentally gone, just left the facility not too long ago. None of those things would have stopped it. You know what would have stopped it? Keeping him committed, keeping him off the streets. If he's already making threats to shoot up some National Guard base and all that, and hearing voices in his head, it's only a matter of time. And if he didn't have an assault weapon, as they like to call it, he could have used a vehicle and mounted a curb during a parade, just like you saw in Waukesha, which they don't talk about no more. How come they weren't out there talking about, oh, GMC or Ford, we need to ban SUV sales now because this sick individual ran over all these people at a parade? You see, they want to constantly go after the assault rifle, the AR-15, and then they're going to come back, I talked about this before, and they're going to tell you, oh, actually, pistols kill more people every single year than AR, so we have to go after the pistols now. That's how they want to play it. Or the guy that was on TV, oh, they can just fire off in quick succession the magazine size. You're talking about it carrying 30 rounds. You have pistols with extended magazines that can carry that. You have the same exact thing. It is not the weapon, it's the person. If this gun was just sitting on a counter somewhere, it would never do anything. It would collect dust and rot away. That's exactly what would happen to it. But if you put the firearm in somebody's hands that's crazy, this is what's going to happen. If you put it in my hands, nothing like this would happen because I don't want to hurt or harm anybody, ever. So that if you give me the same weapon, nothing will happen. But if you give this individual a U-Haul truck, he can go and run over and take lives. You give it to me or somebody else that has sound mind, that's not going to happen.
I think you might be right.
But right there, the last sentence in his post is what they're all about. They want to amend the Constitution and completely get rid of the Second Amendment. You already have all these gun laws. You need to enforce the gun laws that you actually have. You let people out that commit a crime, push somebody into a subway, whatever, let them out the very next day. That's why. Or there's people, oh, there was this drive-by shooting, the suspect's still at large, and that happened last year. This happens every single weekend, like I showed you in Chicago, and nothing is done about it. But when something like this happens, a sick individual that goes into a crowd of people, then they want to beat the drums. But he doesn't talk about what's going on in his own state, in all his cities, how San Francisco is completely going to hell. People don't even want to go to work because of the crime out there. So the laws that you're talking about placing and putting in aren't stopping anybody. Same thing in Chicago. They have one of the strictest gun laws, period, in the nation. And look at how dangerous and how deadly it can be there.
Hush up, boy.
I just feel so bad for the people of Maine that have to go through something like this. And once again, and this is why you always need to defend yourself and always have yourself armed. Maybe somebody was armed, they could have stopped this from happening. You can see him. It's not like he had, bulletproof vest and helmet and all this stuff armed to the teeth. It looked like he was just in there, just like in a jacket, just trying to tear people up. So if there was maybe some kind of police he went into a bowling alley, if there was some kind of armed guard or something to have stopped him because obviously he did all this and he's still on the loose. Well, as of to when I'm filming this. But if there was somebody there that actually had a weapon, some kind of police officer, you could have stopped him before he harmed all these people. Same thing with any other situation. If you have a public that is disarmed, they're not going to be able to defend themselves. The criminals do not abide by all these laws. Oh, you think the criminal's going to go to get a gun, right, illegally and be like, oh, well, they just amended the Constitution, so, you know, we're not going to do that. Do you have any brass knuckles I can buy instead? The criminals are, all you're doing is hurting law-abiding citizens, and they don't even know if he got the gun illegally or if it's actually his or what. He could have had everything stripped from him. Nobody knows exactly yet. But this is what they do. They completely jump. We need to attack the Constitution, get this away from law. That's the only thing it's going to affect is law-abiding citizens. That's all you're going to do. And then they want to do the red flag gun laws. And people are like, oh, that sounds all great. But you could have like a ex-wife or an ex-husband or girlfriend or whatever, a crazy neighbor that thinks that you're a danger. They don't like your political views. They don't like the music you listen to, or say your ex-wife just hates your guts completely, right? They can call and say, listen, I think that Sivaad's a danger to others and himself. He shouldn't have the weapons that he has. And they can come and seize everything that you got. And then they put out a court date that's like 90 days that you have to come to. And if you really look at it, they can keep extending that 90-day limit further and further out. So you could wait those 3 months, get ready for your court date and say, you know, if there's a scheduling conflict, we have to put it out another 90 days. So you're going to look at like, man, it's been a year and a half and I don't have any of my weapons. I haven't done anything. They just called because they want to complain on me because they don't like me. That's the problem with the red flag gun laws. People that are sick like this that they know of, and he's known by law enforcement, you need to have these people that have been committed, they need to remain there. They are a danger to themselves and others. Like I said, whatever happened to insane asylums, as well as you need to have security, law and order. You need to actually educate the public about actually carrying themselves and defending themselves. No matter how many laws you put in, no matter how many constitutions you amend, you cannot fix crazy individuals. There's always going to be people that want to hurt themselves or others. That's never going to go anywhere. You're always going to have those people. So would you rather be armed where you can defend yourself, or be unarmed where you're at the mercy of this individual? I just feel incredibly sad for all the affected families that just went through a tragedy like this, and thank goodness for the ones that were able to get away. But it just sucks, but this is the reality. We have sick people that live among us, and this is why you always have to protect yourself and your family, because somebody's not always going to be there to protect you, period. And this is another problem why you have the border open. You're just supercharging and putting steroids for more of these situations to even happen with people that don't even like this country to begin with. But that's a whole topic for another day. I hope all the families will get some kind of justice throughout this situation, because this is just sick. A sick individual that just deserves to fry for eons in hell for what he's done. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you guys could please share so we can get it out there. And I will catch you guys on the next one.